Hello, hello, hello. Let's see. We should be good. Okay. Let me get the frame. Okay. I think that's good. All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is, let's see, Sunday, March, what is it, 8th. Welcome to our Sweet 16 Marriage Series. This is episode 1. Okay, it's called We Didn't Marry Perfect, but we built it and continue to do so, right? I'm Michelle. This is Ryan.
Hi, I'm Ryan.
So welcome to my page, but our marriage series about, for our Sweet 16. We celebrate 16 years of marriage. Marriage covenant on March 27th of this month. Not today, not yesterday, but on March 27th. But this month kicks off our Sweet 16 series where we're going to literally be talking about, we're going to do a 4-week series that talks about how we made it here, pretty much, okay? Not everyone makes it this far. And some people make it well beyond now. That is our prayer as well, of course, which we will. But we want to talk about how we made it to this point. Okay, so we're going to literally, I have my notes here, of course, like I always do. But instead of just celebrating privately, we decided to do something a little different, okay? So, like I said, over the next few weeks, we're going to have some really honest conversations, starting with tonight, about, growth, things we've learned, things we've experienced, things that really helped us make it to this point. And so before we jump in, if there's anybody on live or catching the replay, let us know you're here. Let us know how many years you've been married, if you are. If you're single, of course, that's fine too. God has someone for you as well. Drop your singlehood in the comments too. And if you are, of course, courting someone, we can pray for you as well. So let us know that too. And that's the old school term, courting, but dating somebody that may be important to you. We can say a special prayer for you guys as well. All right.
If you're in the South, that's courting. Just letting y'all know.
I said courting, honey. So, but for us, marriage has been, one of the most refining and rewarding journeys of our life, right? And one that we continue to be on. So we're going to start off. I have some questions here. I have notes like I always do. My husband is going to go off the cuff, and I have no clue what he's going to say. He has no idea what my questions are for discussion either. So this is how we operate usually anyway. I have a plan. I write it down. My husband does have a plan, but he keeps it up here and he just kind of lets it flow. Right, so, okay. You ready, honey?
Yeah, sure, let's go.
Okay. All right, so first question, all right. What did we think marriage was going to be like? Put your thinking cap on, okay? And what surprised us the most when we were finally actually married. So before you got married, right, what did you think it was going to be like?
Well, before I got married, I just thought it was going to be an endless, wonderful bliss. All the different movies and things like that, they sell you a good bill of goods, but it's a bad bill of goods, actually, when you watch those movies and everything like that. And I should say, coming up, they had a few old school pastors say, yeah, it's going to be a struggle. But then as you get older, what I found out is that what ended up actually happening was it's game on, I should say, for the enemy. I should say for the attacks and everything that come along with it, the challenges. So at that point in time, I would say if you're saying, oh, I want to get closer to the Lord. Yeah, okay, great. Let me show you how you're going to get closer. Because guess what? I'm going to give you somebody who may not like everything you like or want to do what you want to do. They may want to do the exact opposite and be the exact opposite than you in some cases. In other cases, they're going to be right in line, lockstep. So, yeah, wedding day, it was like, oh, awesome. My bride. I still call her my bride too sometimes. And then walking through with my bride, and the girl's like, hey, you're already married. Why are you calling her your bride? I was like, well, she's my bride. And I would say, as long as you don't lose that, don't lose your appreciation for her actually being your bride, that's the main thing I would say is some good advice to keep you going. Did I answer the question?
Half of it, yeah.
Half of it.
And so the other half is, what surprised you when you were actually married? Was that the part where you said, The
Oh.
enemy was game on. But
Yeah,
you're right.
so yeah, that's the part that surprised me. I would say
Okay.
more so. It is more surprising, and also you think what you think marriage is going to be about and how it's going to go. It's a lot more challenging. Yes, surprising.
Okay. All right. Well, for me, I thought before getting married, of course, we dated almost 5 years before he proposed. Okay, that's another topic. But in that,
Yeah, drop that in the chat.
yeah, how long did y'all date before you got married? But anyway, before we got married, right, we knew each other really, really well. So it was kind of like marrying my friend that I loved, right, that I wanted to spend all this time with, eternity pretty much, right? But when we were actually married, then it was okay, well, there's still some things that, not necessarily that I didn't know, but still things that were not revealed to me yet, right? And that's just as you grow in any relationship, period. But in our marriage, once we actually were married, there were things that the Lord literally just, he revealed things to us, and he still does to this day, right? But things that I hadn't uncovered about myself yet, right? Things that he hadn't uncovered about himself that we hadn't shared yet. But it was also because we hadn't gone through certain experiences either yet, right? So after we finally were married, like he did say, it was game on for the enemy, because immediately, it was, the Lord took us through some things, in spite of, even though the enemy tried to separate, like he always will try to. The Lord allowed some things so he could use us for other friends of ours that were literally right in line behind us to be married or be engaged, right? So, and we saw that for what it was, not immediately, but as soon as things started happening and transpiring, okay, well, I see why now. When we got through our first, what do you want to call it, difficulty in marriage very early on, it was really obvious to us both that, okay, now this person's going through that. They called Ryan because we just went through that, right? This person's going through that. Oh, she called me because I just went through that. And it was very obvious to us, okay, well, the Lord is using us in our marriage immediately, even though, right, like he said, Satan tried to attack us immediately as well. The Lord used it in spite of. So in actuality, the things that I thought going in, well, if I'm just marrying my friend, we're going to have a great time in life, it was way more, our mission was big, but the purpose that he had for us was very obvious to us from the very beginning in our marriage. So, and still to this day, we talk about that too.
Awesome. I have a go back.
Okay.
So on a more a real, I guess, everyday tip, you marry someone, you get surprised that they want to steal your socks, that kind of thing. Or you get surprised when you're in the bed, they need 15 million pillows or a body pillow sometimes. So that would surprise you. You don't have that anymore, though. Just want to make sure.
He kicked my body pillow out of
All right,
bed. That's
and then or they may have a favorite teddy or something like that.
Teddy bear.
Thank you. They like to correct you. A big surprise there as well. You know, that can be surprising.
There's
Yes.
other types of teddies. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Oh, yes, ma'am. Put that in the chat too. So there are a lot of things that'll surprise you along the way, just on an everyday basis. You learn, hey, I didn't know I was gonna have to be as domesticated as I was gonna be going in, meaning busting suds and do some other things, help around the house and different other things. So it's enlightening.
Enlightening.
Yeah, it's a surprise, but it comes along with the territory.
Yeah.
You feed off each other, help each other in different areas, and that's the way it goes. So be all in.
So that's the word for the day for question number 1, enlightening. Got that? All right. So now, question number 2. What do you think actually helped us make it to 16 years? Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's it. That's my answer. I don't have to say much. Yeah, the good Lord. That's it, pretty much. And then being appreciative, being grateful and thankful. This past week, what I was going in saying, I would say, I appreciate my wife, or I'm thankful that I have a wife, or thankful that I'm married. Did I miss what did I say? What else did I say? Is that it?
Yeah. And the children, you started saying that today too.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I appreciate you. And at times, you know, when they get on your nerves, you just gotta say, sometimes say, I love my wife, I love my wife, I love my wife. Or sometimes when if you're children, you just pray and then ask the Lord to give you strength and patience and let that fruit of the Spirit come out. And then sometimes you just go do some push-ups and then pray the Lord help it all be all right anyway. So you knock out quick 50.
Yeah.
Oh, your turn.
Okay. What helped us make it through, or two, I should say, the 16 years? Definitely the Lord. Absolutely. I think we made a decision very early on, both of us, in premarital, before we even said I do, what the basis of our marriage was going to be. We came into our relationship as being sold out for God, right? So when we came together, the center of our relationship was already the Lord, and keeping that at the forefront, of course, right? So we literally premarital. I talk to everybody still about our premarital classes, right? Because we signed marriage contracts, and guess what? Just like any contract, you don't always stick to them. So there are times my husband still reminds me about our marriage contract.
Wow.
We still have them. We still have the binders from premarital, right? We can reflect on the things that we've learned 16 years ago now, that equipped us, I should say, to make it through. So it wasn't just, okay, saying, I'm going to depend on the Lord. Okay, well, what does that look like? Right? What are the tools that you're going to use? When you do get in an argument and you don't want to talk, right? What are the tools you're going to use? What are the resources you have available? What scripture you're going to use, go to, but how you're going to apply it once you know what the scripture says. We know, right, what to do, but how are you going to apply it? Are you going to actually just let it go in and out, one ear and out the other, and so, well, I don't feel like doing that today, and then you get convicted, and the Lord convicts you. You still have a choice to decide, am I going to listen and do what He told me to do, even though I don't want to, especially as wives, right? Knowing what we're supposed to do and not do. Or am I going to talk outside of my neck, or am I going to go apologize because I knew I shouldn't talk out inside of my neck and just such my husband? Just one example, right? But what helped us, I believe, make it this far definitely is our faith in the center of our marriage being the Lord, but also at the same time not just saying, like I said, we're depending on the Lord, but also using the resources and the tools He's given us as a part of the covenant, and going by what the scripture says and applying it to our lives, not just knowing what it says, right? And being able to implement and reminding ourselves constantly too, because we're raising 3 girls, right? So I have a huge responsibility in how I treat my husband, because they're looking at that, right? So I get convicted often, and my husband reminds me as well sometimes too. But what helped us, like he said, is definitely going to be our faith and putting our trust as well, right, in the Lord and what He has for us and the plans He's given us, and being obedient to the things He's told us to do and not do, which is not always easy, but we try our best to be set apart, which is what we're supposed to do, right?
And also with the longevity, also having others that come alongside you. So she mentioned premarital. We have friends from premarital class that we still talk to. Also, if you didn't do premarital class, you still can go do one. Even though you're married, we have some folks that were married, they actually went through the course too. So I would highly recommend that. And then also in those spheres or circles, that's a tight group, and it's almost like a legal session, meaning you're talking with them, it stays in that group. So, or one-on-one, that's it. It stops right there. So that was the other one.
We even had singles too, right, in our premarital class, which is really awesome. That's because true. You're able to prepare yourself, right, for the mate that the Lord is working out for you, right? even in your singlehood, which is super important too.
And the other one I would say, make sure you have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's very important. Make sure you help her get a belly laugh, gents, and then that's for sure. Make sure you block off time to have fun. That's important.
Well, that's a good transition into my third question. So, what changed in our marriage that actually made things better over time?
You get to go first. You keep looking at me. You keep
I'm
looking at
kind
me.
of cheating. I know the questions, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
you go first this time.
over time, I believe, I think kind of goes back to what I said earlier about things that were revealed after we were married, right? So in that, I think the word probably I would use would be maturity. So we were, of course, I won't say young when we got married. We weren't too young at all. We were together for quite a while. We knew where we wanted to go in life. We both had our own houses already. We both had done things ourselves individually before we became one. But like I said, over time, we learned each other even more so. But as we began to experience things together, we matured even further in those things. We definitely matured more. I know I did in my spiritual walk, right? So when I became married, my spiritual growth it went not through the roof, but some hurdles I jumped really quickly, and he skyrocketed even further than that once I became a mother. So there's certain things I believe that the Lord wants us to have to be prepared for in our relationships, in marriage, and parenthood before we get to certain things, so we know what to expect, but also how to navigate. So there are things that the scripture again tells us, right, how to do things. But again, you have a choice to make when it comes to those things. So a woman, we know the scripture tells us how a woman is supposed to operate in a marriage, right? So that maturity I'm talking about comes from, and for me especially came from being able to accept my role as a wife and being able to say, okay, well, yes, I'm going to do these things because this is what I'm supposed to do in my marriage. And as a new wife, right, my level of maturity was not the same thing as when we hit 5 years or 10 years, or when we started having our first child, for example, right, when we started moving from our first house to the next one, or we moved from the city to the country, or all these different stages of our marriage were different levels of maturity in our marriage as well, where I definitely believe that made us better, made us stronger with each phase, and also allowed us to grow closer together in those two, because we had a lot of open, not just conversation, but honest dialogue. And we always brought it back to the scripture. Always brought it back to, okay, what is the Lord trying to tell us here? Where is he trying to guide us? What is he trying to tell us to not do? Or is this the Lord at all? That maturity piece of it, I think we continue to, with every stage of our marriage, grow with, and that's one thing I definitely believe that, to answer the question, makes us continually better over time.
Awesome. That was a very nice, beautiful question from Caleb Grave. And you were asking about what changes have been made.
Yes.
Yes. So the first thing that comes up to mind is that as a man, you have to man up immediately. You no longer just take care of yourself. You no longer take care of you, your car, your house, if you had a house before you got married. Now you're the head of a house, and you've been trusted and gifted with your wife. So God has entrusted you with your wife. Her father has trusted you with her wife. Her family has entrusted you. And then also on your side, your family expects you to take care of your family and your wife as well. So there are things just from being a man's perspective that just hits immediately. The change happens, you ready or not, here it comes. So same thing like when children come, ready or not, here they come. So and can you really prepare totally for the situation? No, you can't, and you do have to depend on trust on the Lord. And also you have to understand, from my perspective as a man, on me how things go and how everything goes. And then also, if you have a godly woman, guess what? She's gonna say, "All right, what we doing, or which direction we going?" And then, oh, great, that's some beautiful weight to have. So same thing when you're at your job. If you're a leader at your workplace, it doesn't matter. It's you have to lead, make a decision, and go. What was it? I heard one of the preachers said, I think it was Miles Monroe that said it. It was a statistics. He likes statistics, so I like math. So whenever he says statistics, he says failure in life comes from when you make a decision. Only 10% of your failure, the portion of failure, comes from you making a decision. So meaning that 90% where you actually fail is not from you making the decision. And your indecision, from indecision, basically you're looking at on the other side 5%. So in this case, as a man, you need to just make a decision and trust the Lord to work it out. That's the main thing. So the main change is you're trusting just for yourself, then it changes to trusting for your family and all the people that are interwoven, friends, relatives, neighbors, all of that. So that has to change. So it's more of a you changing than a her changing or circumstance changing, or don't point at circumstances. It's you. You need to get it done.
Yeah, no pressure, but all the pressure. I appreciate that. It's all on him.
And I'm going to hand that burden over to the Lord.
That's right.
Yeah,
right.
absolutely. Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, right, so as a wife, I can wholeheartedly accept the fact that he has that burden because he knows where to go with that burden, right? Not every man does. So if you walk around here with a husband that's not leaning on the Lord, that's a different topic, right? So you can't put your trust in him if you're not putting his trust in the right place. I can wholeheartedly have 500% confidence in my husband because I know where he goes when he needs decision. He needs decision. He needs to make decisions. He needs to guide his family, right? He knows where to go at all times. And isn't scared to do so and tell me if he thinks it's even the wrong decision after he's made a decision because he wasn't listening to the Lord, right? That takes courage too, right? So that's not going to be every man. My husband can do that and but he has the faith in his wife that I'm going to receive it too, right? So it goes both ways. So if he tells me, hey, I made the wrong decision, and now in hindsight, I see this because I wasn't listening to the Lord, and I say, okay, what are we going to do about it now? How are we going to correct? What is the Lord saying now, right? I'm not going to go off on the deep end, right? 20-year-old Michelle might have. Very different. Again, back to that maturity change that I talked about, right? But now, at this point in our marriage, definitely, I'm always going to be okay. Well, so what are we doing now? Where are we going now? What's the plan now? Right? We can't cry with spilled milk.
And that was that was my question, was having those difficult conversations. Was really the answer I thought about. The first answer when she read off the question was just having difficult conversations. Mm-hmm. And you don't want to have it. You know it could potentially lead to argument or a fight or whatnot, but you gotta have it. So you gotta step in the pocket. You gotta, if you're doing football, you gotta step in the box. If you're doing baseball, you gotta step in the ring if you're boxing. So, but you're not boxing your spouse. You love your spouse. It may seem that way at times, but it's really an issue or a problem that you have at hand. Basically, this is the problem. You say, okay, we need to talk about this and talk about that, and I'm not punching or attacking her. We're going to talk about this problem right here. The couple is representing the problem.
Us against the problem.
Yeah.
Not each other.
Yeah, it could be anything from your finances or how we're going to, what direction to take on how we're going to mentor or lead our children or discipline, or what's our next phase for 2, 3, 5 years on down the road. All different kind of things.
All right. So now, connecting things here as another transition point. So y'all know I'm a natural medicine doctor, right? So I'm always talking about health, wellness, but it's oftentimes we don't talk about, just as people, right, how your relationships impact your wellness, right? So making that connection, our relationships affect our health big time. Our mental state, our physical state, our spiritual state, right? All of those different types of wellness creates our whole being. So when you have stressful relationships, it impacts your body. It impacts your mind, body, and spirit. When you have healthy relationships, the same thing, right? It impacts your mind, body, and spirit. So if, for example, we were be arguing, right, just before we got on the live, and I say, okay, honey, now my spirit is vexed, and we're about to go in here and get on the live, and I gotta get it together.
Lord Jesus help me.
Right?
Oh.
That impacts you, right? So at the same time, as a husband and wife, right, it's up to both of us to protect our peace individually, but also together, right? So I don't want to stress him out. He doesn't want to stress me out. That doesn't mean it doesn't happen, right? But again, that comes back to having those difficult conversations, right? Not being afraid to have those conversations, but also reminding yourself. And I say it all the time. I walk around and talk about our nervous systems and, all these different things that I throw out.
She does.
And I say,
parasympathetic and
yes,
other words.
yes, because it impacts you, right? So I'll say, well, honey, I'm not going to sleep well tonight if da-da-da-da, right? Or the girls aren't going to sleep well because you're not home, from work early enough, and we need to have to keep our rhythm, right? If we don't have dinner on time, that impacts the time that they go to bed. And if he's not home from work on time, we don't have dinner on time. All these different things affect our health, right? So the relationship that you have with your spouse and your children, it all impacts you and them. So as a married couple, right, in our marriage, we're very protective of each other in that manner, because we both know, right, not just me, we both know how important it is to be loved on, but also to love, right, and knowing what that feels like, whether we're present or not. Just his little check-ins throughout the day to tell me good morning, he's at work kind of thing, right, that impacts my mental state in the morning, right? He'll send me a picture of the sunrise when I'm still in bed sleeping, and I'll see that when I wake up, right? That impacts my day. So all these little different things that we may or may not do as a married couple impacts your overall well-being, mind, body, and spirit. So I just wanted to make sure we connected the wellness piece of it to marriage, because of course marriage is one of the most powerful relationships you will ever have in life, right? So you want to make sure that relationship is one that's going to always be as much as you can before your health and not against, right? Because you can't have longevity if you're living in stress. And that's not how it works. Your nervous system, very specifically, cannot function properly in a stressful environment. So husbands that don't want to go home because they don't want to hear their wives, whatever the case may be.
Close from woman. Better be on the roof than be in the house.
Scriptural, okay?
On the corner of the roof, not just on the roof.
Yeah.
Like way on the other side where she not, kind of thing. So if you want to know why a man's not showing up at the house or coming home late or may not be around, yeah, our peace is not there. So why do I come home and run into a brick wall? Mm-hmm. Or they're the grand poobah wherever they work, or the office, or the field, or the shop, wherever they are, they're a man. They come home, they're not the man. Okay, they want to come home. It's a question. So it's also kind of like you say, oh, well, I'm mad about this. I don't appreciate this. What's wrong with the car? The car's messed up. Oh, what's up with this? Or what's up with that? And then instead, hindsight, you can say, hey, I appreciate that we have a car, and sometimes it does this. It's a little, I appreciate that we have a car. I appreciate this. I appreciate that. Not just highlighting the bad things. And then most likely they would want to actually do something about the car or the house or whatever maybe your issue may be, is highlight what is good. I was mentioning something on live today about something I think it's Tony Robbins said. He said He said, "Hey, you want to talk to God? Great." So God comes down.
Yesterday.
Yeah, it was yesterday. Yeah, so God comes down and he starts talking. Hey, hey, how you like my creation? He said, "Oh, well, the weather just changes way too much. It's just so and it just all the time. I can't even figure it out. And then also you got these little ants down here. They're just little boogers that run all over and they bite the mess out of me every time I go outside. I can't stand it." And blah 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 blah, on and on and on. And then he talks to somebody else. He says, "Oh man, hey God, how's it going, dude? This is a paradise. I appreciate it, man. Hey, the weather's never the same. It changes. This is great." And then you got these little ants. They're like a little army. They're awesome. They break down stuff, whatever. Sometimes they bite me, but hey, they're doing their job. So I love it here. So at the end of that little speech, he says, "So who you think God wants to hang out with? The first one or the second one?" Mm-hmm. So think about that. That's just an analogy about God. But think about that quarrelsome woman and then being on the corner of the house. Well, it's the same scenario, situation. Mm-hmm. Right there. So yeah, give that some thought and marinade.
Yeah.
I don't know what time limit we have, so that's why I'll pause it right there.
Oh no, you're fine.
Okay.
Whoever's going to be here is going to be here.
Awesome.
Let's see. Hey Mike, I see Mike Jones on there. Mike Jones second. Hey Mike. All right, so now I have just a couple more discussion topics here. The first one being communication. Okay.
Oh my.
So, and you always hear it, right? So whenever you're talking about, if you go to YouTube or any blog or anything, right? They're always talking about the most important thing in a relationship is what? What are they going to say?
Listen to your wife.
That's not what they're going to say. Communication. But he's right. But they're going to say...
That's what they're going to say. They're going to say, listen to your wife.
They're going to say communication, right?
Or pay attention to your woman.
Yes.
Or whatever slogan. Go ahead, keep going.
Yes,
keep going.
Yes. It all boils down to communication, right? But that's, again, one of those things where it's easier said than done.
That's true.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So we know we should communicate. We know we shouldn't give people a silent treatment, right? We know we shouldn't be yelling at each other. We know we shouldn't be all these different things that we know doesn't make any sense. It's not to help you get to the end goal you want, but we still do it, right? We still go to bed angry, right? We still do the things that we know are not going to stop the argument that we're having. We know, all these different things, but it feels good in the flesh, right?
Yeah, for about 2 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
Or maybe half a second.
That whole silent treatment thing, though, you can feel real good with that one. You might get some stuff done.
Yeah. It works for both ways, actually.
Yes.
It works both ways.
Yeah.
Silent treatment.
But
yeah,
at the same time, on the back end of it, you think about all the things that you missed out on during that time, right? You're like, oh, well, mm-hmm. I couldn't tell my husband about this because I wasn't talking to him.
You can get a good belly laugh neither.
Right?
You ain't talking to him.
All the different things and that's like with God, right? All the different things you missed out on because you didn't listen to what he told you to do. So in your marriage, right, there are things that when it comes to communication, if you're communing, right, with the Lord first.
That's another topic. Keep going.
Communing with the Lord first. If you're going to him for your guidance, I'll say it that way, okay, because he's talking about something else. If you're going to him for your guidance on discussion with your spouse, mm-hmm. or non-discussion, right? Just give him Google eyes. You know what you're saying, right? Discussion with your spouse and how to lead that discussion. So with me, I will say very honestly, right? It's always my tone. I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana. I was brought up everybody yelling at each other. Not just in my household, but in the city, right? Everybody walking around, hey, baby. All up here, on 10, everybody. The whole city, just on 10, okay? So, there is no, I'm going to speak to you like I have, not some sense, I was going to say some sense, but I'm going to talk to you like I don't have to yell at you, right? So, very early on in our relationship, even early on in our marriage, right, I was still yelling. And to him, I had to explain, I'm not yelling, I'm just talking. Well, yes, Michelle, you're yelling. See how I went from A to B there? But it's because that's what I heard all day, every day, growing up. At home, at school, in the streets, at the store, wherever I was, right? So I didn't understand that his communication and my communication were the same, but if I'm talking at a level where that makes his nervous system uncomfortable, he's not going to hear it. So I had to first of all bring my voice down to speak where he would hear me, but also secondarily to that, my tone had to change, because along with the level of my voice, I had a New Orleans tone. We talk differently. We talk at you, not to you. So it's always like a directive, right? When we talk, it's like, okay, I need you to go do da 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 da. Not, can you please go?
Or would you be so kind as
Yeah,
to
you know,
give me some sugar or some tea or
you
something?
know, yeah, some very different.
Mhm.
I am not the Michelle that he married. I will tell you that, and that's not. I shouldn't be. We should all be evolving,
Yes.
progressing,
You must
getting
do
better.
that. Yeah.
Right? It's still in there.
Mhm.
It's in there.
Yeah, times when go on the corner of the roof. Yeah, it's in there. Trust me.
It's in there.
So I will point out this. So you can see as she's talking, you can see how she's talking,
Yes.
and the hands are going,
Yes.
and the neck goes a little bit,
Yes.
and then leaning in, and lean back.
Yeah.
So those are all different cues on how she's feeling or how she's doing. So some of those mean one thing, and another cue means something else. So she got a little mix of what she's going on right now during this little podcast.
But he
we got going.
understands that.
Yeah, and I would say many observing people, and one, you can see their tendencies or traits, if they're an aggressive person or assertive person, or if they're a little more laid back or reserved, or you just gotta know that about people. So some people, you know, you need to match that energy level and be up there with them, and other people you may need to bring it down a
And you
little bit.
can't do that with your spouse,
And
though.
then, yes, that's what I'm saying. I'm just, these are examples. So with my spouse, well, she knows, hey, grew up in L.A., then moved to Dallas. So in L.A., that, well, you doing all that extra stuff. Well, that's like, okay, we about to get into it real quick. If you going up, okay, we about to get into it. And then in Louisiana, when I had to go visit too, they would be here. Then I know they go like off the screen. So you saw my hand was right here. They already up there. Then they go up here off the screen. So then yeah. So it's just different levels. So LA be here, then they go to here. You know, that's the critical mass level for height and attitude and all that other stuff. And then in Louisiana, they'll be here the whole time and be like, "Oh, y'all ready to fight already? I said, let's go." And so that was my attitude when I went. So it was already like at that level. But I was like, "Oh, okay, y'all just talking loud. You didn't mean nothing about it. Okay, great."
Right.
And then then I had to, you pay attention to the intent of the words, and then even though it's loud, the tonation changes here and there. And then you look at the body language, that tells you, keys off what's really going on. And so with your spouse, children, people at work, you have to look at that. And then you can have compassion even when they're up here. Not quite off the screen though, but you got me.
So yeah, so again, that goes back to not just communicating, but understanding your spouse, right? And love language is a whole different topic. But when I say communication, not just talking to each other, or talking at each other, I should say, but talking to each other openly, honestly, and staying on each other's level, right? Not one being up here, one being down here, so you can actually have a conversation and want to get to the same end goal. And then, like I'll mention this, I'll say it. So love languages, of course, are even an upgrade to that, right? So when you communicate with your spouse, what is their love language, right? This is something we talked about really early on as well, in our early years of marriage, because that changed, right? So again, back to that maturity thing. So when we first got married, like my love language was acts of service, right? And now I'm like,
yeah, baby, get on these toes. I'm just take out the trash, do some dishes. That's why I was talking about domesticated stuff earlier on. Yeah, that domestication. So yeah, you want partners, you say, "Hey, Green, what's up, man? You look at you. You getting all domesticated on me and stuff." Yeah, he thought it was hilarious. But he wasn't married yet, though. He got married.
He's not married now either.
I got. Okay, well, we're gonna keep. That's another conversation. Put that in the comment block. We have more to come.
Yeah, because we didn't wash no dishes. So anyway,
have mercy. It's obviously said you ain't wash no dishes. Mm-hmm. Saw that. Yeah.
So, but right, your love language, and what not just what your love language is. What is your spouse's love language? Right? You need to know each other's, because oftentimes you treat someone the way you want to be treated, and we all know that term, right? But I don't like flowers. Like, don't waste your money on flowers for me. He knows that, right? But some men, their love language is, I'm gonna buy her stuff, right? Because he wants you to buy him something. When I'm like, don't buy me nothing. I got enough stuff, right? No, rub my feet, right? It changes, and you have to understand what it is, number one, but also notice when it changes, because it may not stay the same, right? She might have 4 love languages at one point. Like, different stages of your marriage, things change. You mature, your spouse matures, your relationship matures, and the things that did, right, hold your attention early on in your marriage may not be the case now. May not be the same thing anymore. I don't want the same things, right? But also, like I said, realizing that, and again, putting it into practice, right? Implementing and believing them when they tell you, yeah, don't buy me flowers, because I don't want something that's going to waste money and be dead in 2 days. But then you still buying her flowers.
Just infuriated her. She was mad.
She said, don't buy.
She was mad for no reason. She was mad. I got her flowers, and she said she don't want flowers. Okay.
If you're going to get them, go outside and pick the free ones on them pretty ones that's going to die after you clip them. But we didn't waste our money on you buying me flowers that I said I didn't want. Right? Okay. So, communication. Yes. Who else? Oh, hey, mama. Mama on there too. Hey, mama. So, communication. That was discussion topic number 1. Number 2. Ooh, this is a good one. Growth over comfort. So what do you think that even means? Tell the people what you think that means when I wrote that.
Growth over comfort. It goes back to the difficult conversations I was talking about earlier. I would say you can stay in your comfort zone, as a man, first, you can stay in your comfort zone from your dreams and aspirations perspective. You can stay in your comfort zone from what you need to do spiritually, what the Lord would have you to do. And then you can stay in your comfort zone also from your temple, your body's standpoint, right? It also says, hey, exercise is a little good, but even more so spiritual, right? That means don't discard exercising, don't discard taking care of your body, your temple, because the first thing is, you look throughout the Old Testament, you have to be able to guard and maintain your position. So that was war. If you don't have any physicality or any strength or anything like that to defend your castle, in this case, someone comes try to take my wife or my children, and if my body's weak and not strong enough, because it also says, hey, the robber doesn't come or the thief doesn't come unless the strong man is out the house. So therefore, that tells you need to be prepared. Jesus told them, say, hey, he said, you don't need a sword, then go out 2 by 2. But hey, when Jesus was leaving, guess what he told him? Go get a sword. You got to be ready. You got to be prepared. So from that perspective, just not continuing on and just laying flat on your hind parts or your hind quarters. That's not what you need to do. You need to still go out and conquer and do what the Lord has you do.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think about being stagnant in your marriage, right? So a lot of people say, okay, well, I can't wait to get to the empty nester phase, right? When the children are out of the house and, it can go back to being just us.
You watch Cosby Show, right? You know what happened. Oh, so I already know what time it is. Don't be worried about that.
So in that,
they want the house.
In that, we're not going to wait, right? So when I think about growth over comfort, it's okay, not getting comfortable in this stage of your marriage. Okay, right now we're just going to do the status quo while we have the children in the house. Just as an example, right? We're not going to do the status quo because okay, you're at this position in your job, right? We're not going to do the status quo just because we don't have enough money to go do these things anymore. You know, just examples that where people tend to just get stuck in their marriage and they wonder why, okay, well, and then they start talking about that spark is gone, right? Well, it's because you became stagnant. It's because it had nothing to do with doing the things you did when you were first together. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the fact that you stopped progressing. You stopped doing things, not just doing things together, but moving forward in your marriage. Like even just this year alone, or last year and this year, for example, there's so many different things we've done individually and collectively to continue our growth in life, right? And the things that the Lord wants us to do, whether we have the money for it, the energy for it, the time for it, if He told us to do it, He's going to make a way, right? So we put things in place to do those things. We are very intentional about moving forward and not being stuck and stagnant in anything that we do. We're always thinking, okay, what's next? What's next? What are we doing next? We did this month. Like, I have a whole schedule for the whole year, right? Because what are we doing in August, right? If anybody talks to me, they know I can tell you. If you ask me about what we're doing, my schedule is down. Like in November, we're going on a cruise, right? We know these different things. But that's because we're not going to be stagnant in our marriage. We deliberately plan vacations for ourselves, just the two of us, right? We have my mama right now on schedule to fly her here so we can fly away, okay? We are deliberate in scheduling that time together at home just to watch a movie together. And we lock the door and tell the girls, no, it's mommy and papa time, right? We're deliberate in those different things because it matters, right? Spending that time together, but also not just doing the same thing over and over and over, getting off the hamster wheel, right? Which is a lot of people do in their marriage, right? And then again, the spark is gone. Well, it's because you continue to do the same things over and over and over and over and over. And you're bored. That's anything, not just in your marriage. You do the same thing over and over and over, you're going to get bored. So don't be stagnant and continue to grow over being comfortable. It's really comfortable when you're bored. You lay down on the sofa doing a marathon of whatever you're watching, right? At the end of it, you realize just how much time you wasted, and now you're bored again because that marathon's over. But you sat on the couch all day long, being stagnant. Right, so when I think about growth over comfort, that's what I think about. Being progressive in your marriage, in your man and woman marriage, when I say progressive. Okay.
Growth over, that's very good. At least do some push-ups while you're watching the show or something. That would be most helpful.
Get a rebounder, right?
Do some dumbbells or do something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also in that, you do what's not comfortable.
Yeah.
So then that automatically says growth. That's automatically growth. Do what's uncomfortable. So if there's a question that comes up, you have options. You have a comfortable option. Yeah, awesome, super. And you have the uncomfortable option. That might be really close to what you need to be doing.
Exactly.
So if you have three options, one's it's pretty easy, chill. Next one, it's a little bit of challenge, a little bit of risk. This one's high risk, or this one makes me really uncomfortable. Well, you have to look at that and say, okay, great. How much growth do you want? So same with working out, exercising. How much growth do you want? Do you want to hit gym 2 times a week, 3 times, 4 times a week, and then allow time for your body to regenerate? Or you do nothing. Mm-hmm. That's real comfortable.
Yeah. And that reminds me of something else too, because I say it often, but just especially throughout our marriage, the different things that God has revealed to us, it's always okay what everybody else is doing. That's obviously what we should not be doing, right? And that makes things really simple for us in that manner. So if everybody over here going to this concert, well, that's not the one for us. If everybody over here doing this trend, that's not for us. We're supposed to be set apart, right? But that's not easy for Christians to remember because they want to be like everybody else, and that's not what we're supposed to be doing. So in our marriage, that's definitely something we hold near and dear. No, we're not doing what everybody else is doing. We're always going to go the opposite way and do what, nobody over here. It's 2 or 3 people over here while the other 97 over there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, oh, you get married, you don't date your wife anymore. Well, guess what we're gonna do?
Yeah.
We're probably gonna continue to date each other and continue to know each other. Ask questions. Hey, what you want to do in 2, 3, 5 years?
Yeah.
Because guess what? It's gonna change. Who would have thunk?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. All right. Last topic.
All right.
Friendship. So.
Uh-oh.
I talked about sparks a minute ago, right? So this is one of those things, right? People always talk about, the romance is dying and my husband's just not romantic anymore, or just I don't get those butterflies anymore kind of thing.
That's easy for women to fix, but that's another or video.
No, but it's a different kind of love too, right? That's what people don't understand.
True. Yep.
Because in the beginning, the love you have for your new spouse, right, is a completely different kind of love than the love you have after y'all have gone through some stuff, after you have now really understood the covenant, after you've really started operating in your role as a wife or a husband, right? These different things change your definition of love in your marriage. And it's not, oh, I loved him when I got married, but oh no, I really love him now. I really understand him as a man now, not just as my husband, right? I understand now when he comes home with this beat down look on his face, it's literally because the world beat him up before he got home. And I'm supposed to be his safe space, right? So when married couples reflect on the romance being gone and the things that we used to do, we just don't do it anymore, right? I go back to the growth of a comfort thing, but I also go back to your friendship, right? So people will often say, I love my spouse, I love my husband, I love my wife. Okay, but do you like them? Do you like them? Do you genuinely want to spend time with them? It irks my soul when this whole best friend thing, right? My husband is my best friend. And in my mind, that's how it's supposed to be. Not, I have 10 other girlfriends that I have to go somewhere with every so often because I'm trying to get away from my husband. No. When I travel, he comes with me. That's who I want to travel with, right? When I do things, that's who I want to call and tell about it, right? When I, good or bad, right? It's not, girl, let me tell you what happened. No, I'm calling my husband. That is my best friend. So our friendship, right, is the foundation of everything, right? On top of that, we built. We were friends, like the very first time we had a conversation, we sat on the phone for hours, like I was talking to a long lost friend, right? For hours. And then love came like that, but it was because we had already developed that friendship, that baseline, very quickly. And the Lord knew what he was doing, of course. But the foundation of everything we have is because I genuinely appreciate my husband's friendship. Why you looking at me like that? So, and that's what I believe carried our marriage through every season. Because there may be seasons where you're like, well, I love you, but I don't like you. Or, yeah, I don't like you, but I still love you, right? Or, I really don't want to be around you right now, but you're the one I want to talk to about why I don't want to be around you. And you're like, make that make sense. Well, it's because you're my best friend. Like, you're the one I want to call when you're getting on my nerves, to tell you why you're getting on my nerves. You might be like, well, she crazy. No. But like, you know you're really getting on my nerves? Let me tell you why you're getting on my nerves. And I can do that because he's my best friend, right? If not, it's, okay, girl, let me call you and tell you what this man done did. Now, what does that do?
What, girl, what he say? What he done did now?
And now you have an ally against your husband that Satan now has a string to pull on. Because that's what you're doing. You're inviting Satan to use other people to discourage your marriage. That includes your family, not just your female or your male best friend, right? the people you call to tell about what's going on inside of your house.
Unless they knock you back in the lane and they bring you back to the word.
That's what I'm talking about, though. So and that's two different things, though, right? So if you calling somebody to invite them into your marriage about something your spouse did, and they're doing exactly what I said, girl, let me tell you what you did, right? And you respond the way you just did, right? Instead of, like I've done, and the friends may not like it when you do it, but you're supposed to be that friend, right? Not best friend, but that friend. That's the difference too, right? So when your friend does call you to tell you about their spouse, and you say, well, did you pray for him? And they're like, what? Girl, I'm calling to tell you why I'm going off on this man. No, well, he may have had a hard day at work this week. Did you think about that? He might have lost a friend from high school. Did you ask him why he's feeling that way? You know, instead of just accepting the fact that, oh, he got attitude today. He didn't want to take out the trash when I asked him to take out the trash. You know, all these different things. Well, okay, are you inquiring? Are you really trying to understand your husband or your wife at that moment in time, or are you just trying to call somebody and gossip about your own spouse, which is the Lord telling you not to do that first and foremost? But is that what you're doing? Or are you actually calling somebody for wise counsel? That's very different. So you're not about to call the same people that's been gossiping about your spouse forever, or are you calling the deacon at church because y'all done had an argument and you at your wits end and you just about to pray you through that thing, right? That's very different. Wise counsel and calling a friend a gossip, not the same thing. So yes, you're very right. Unless they're knocking you back in your lane, that's the only type of counsel you should be getting about somebody someone outside of your marriage. And I went on a rant with that one because that really bothers me.
Yeah, Dave Ramsey was in proud.
Dave Ramsey.
Yeah, he goes on rants when he's on his show. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So, but because it's important, right? It's important.
Important.
Yes. So I'm all for. You know, I have friends that I go hang out with. We go refill our cup, right? So we can literally just have a break, right? But it's not because I want to get away from my husband, right? All my vacations, like 99% of them, are with my husband because that's who I want to spend my time with children, without children, right? It's not because I need to get away from him, because I want to pour into him and have him pour back into me, so we can refill each other constantly, right? What you got?
Oh, and the other one is that we were talking about it earlier on, where you can do the silent treatment and other things like that. The even worse is that you do the friend zone treatment to your spouse. You friend zone them, and then that's it. And
now you're roommates.
Now you're roommates. You live in roommates. That's even worse than the other one she brought up earlier. Go ahead. You got something you want to say?
No, I'm good.
Hey, you good?
I'm
so that's what I'm saying. So the friendship thing is absolutely great, and just don't weaponize it.
Yeah.
And that can be weaponized on my part, and then she can learn how to perfect it, and then she do it back to me, and I really don't like it, you know, because I can be malicious at times, or a lot. And so if you want to know the character of someone, you really just say, hey, you know, I would say, they ask me, hey, what about Ryan? I said, talk to my wife. And she could tell you, oh, yeah, he's good to go, blah, 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 X, Y, Z. And she'll tell you specifically what lanes are really great. And then she said, hey, what about your wife? I said, oh, my wife is great. She's a blessing from the Lord. And she's great. And boom, 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 all of these lanes, right? And then I just told you right now, hey, this is a lane where I saw, okay, great, this is an area for improvement. Don't weaponize your friendship. Don't weaponize silent treatment. All those different things. And I'm going to let my wife, she's ready to go. She's wound up. No, go ahead.
Okay, so
you have something you want to say.
You made a couple of points there. Because first and foremost, like you said, areas for improvement, right? Mm-hmm. Because that's one of those things where, and you know, we both work for NASA, so there's some terms that we use that people don't use in everyday language. But it's because we understand things differently from certain perspectives. But there are terms that we should use in everyday language. So when people talk about your marriage, right, and some people will go to therapy, right? That's perfectly fine, nothing wrong with that. Christian counseling is what I prefer you to do. Different topic. But weaknesses, right? So when you talk to somebody about your marriage, right, and they say, okay, what would you consider the weakness in your marriage, right? Wrong terminology, right? No, it's what areas should be improved in your marriage. So that was a good point when you said that, because that's one thing I really want to drive home, right? Because we all have areas for improvement. There also are always things where you might consider your husband or your wife is weak in. But the terms you use with your spouse, the energy you put into the language you use when you talk to your spouse, either is going to help them thrive in your marriage, in your relationship period, or falter. Because your belief in them matters, right? So if I talk to you about, honey, you sure are weak when it comes to da-da-da-da-da, right? Like, we have 3 daughters. And I'm very, very...
You can't use the word weak.
Very...
That's a no-go.
Yeah.
That's not, I'm not saying that's something where I would leave. It's just that it kind of hit that nerve real quick, and you kind of go, weak, what? You come again?
Yeah, so first of all, not to call a man weak at all.
Yeah.
And
if you can call him weak and he don't say nothing or tweak or nothing like that, we got some work to do.
He has an area for improvement.
First of all, that's why I said we got some work to do.
He let you call him weak.
Absolutely.
No. But
weak, chump.
That's a manhood thing.
We gotta have a real conversation.
Yeah. So that was one point I wanted to make. Area for improvement. Having the right language, okay, when you're talking to your spouse. So of course he's not gonna come to me and say, honey, that whole area, when you do this over here, that's a weak thing. You have a weakness in this area. Think about your employees when you're at work, or your boss, right? He told you had a weakness when it was time for performance appraisals. How did it make you feel? I failed in this area. And now you're not motivated to do better though, right? But if you have an area for improvement, okay, I'm doing good, but I can do better. Completely different terminology. It flips a different switch in your brain, okay? And back to your nervous system again, right? But areas for improvement. That was one thing. The second thing you said, weaponizing the friendship.
Yeah. Before you move on, weaponizing the friendship, let me pop in real quick.
Okay.
You said, what's the last thing you just said something very, very important. Oh, when you say the weakness or something else that would attack a man, just a manhood at all, that part, it will snowball into continued attacks until you man up. Be it from your spouse, be it from somebody at work, in the streets, or wherever you go as a man, that weakness will be attacked. Boom, 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 until you address it. So there's times when I was younger, somebody was bullying somebody, it would get on my nerves, and I would do something, and also I would have to come back to the person getting bullied. Like, hey, look, this is what's happening. This is how you walking. You walking like you want to be bullied, or your posture is horrible, or do some push-ups. Do 5 in the morning every day, 5 at night.
Pop your chest out.
Eventually, you're gonna walk properly, or something like that. Learn how to do some boxing. Do something.
Yeah.
Or take some voice lessons. If you talk too high, you need to do something about that. You need to get a little more bass in your voice. All right. So there's different things that you need to do. And then sometimes, if I talk to my wife and I'm excited about something, or I talk a little differently, she be like, I can look on her face. Oh, use a chump kind of look on her face. She don't say it, but I can tell immediately, like, oh, okay. What did I just do? So you have to read that body language, because you will get accused, because a woman think you soft. Or just check it. If you just about to get sick, I'm gonna get up in the camera. If you're about to get sick and you're not feeling well, she detects it and she will attack. So you have to be ready. You have to be ready. If you feel a little bit of weak in your body, whatever, she gonna
pray against it.
She gonna get it. All right. So just like other people, you think about them do that. It's just how we are. It's human nature. If somebody's weak, they're gonna take advantage of the situation.
Right. And understand too, though, right? That's again an opportunity for Satan. So first of all, you calling your husband weak. Other people are already calling him weak at work, right? They're attacking his manhood at work, just out in the streets, period. And he comes home and he gets it from his rib, right? That is opportunity every single time for Satan to knock him down one notch further every time.
What about the flip-flop? If you're not even getting called weak out there, but you're getting called it at home, or you're not getting or respect, or whatever it is you may think it is at the time, the thing is, if that's happening at home, then it can actually then start to flip over there. So I was at work. Someone asked me, hey Ryan, you're very assertive. You make decisions very quickly. This, that, and the other, and it was thought about going for another position. I said, okay, great. I said, and if I got come down from 9, 10 on making my decisions, I said, well, that's nice. If I come down to, how far down you talking about, like a 7? Somewhere still on the other side? I said, no, maybe down to about a 5-ish or whatever, so I can get this position or that position. I said, great, let me put this in perspective for you. If I go home and I'm a 5 at home, I will get steamrolled at the house. So I'm not going to even practice that here at work because I'm going to get steamrolled as soon as I get home. I don't know where you got that from. You need to go on back out there and pray the Lord give you some understanding so my husband come on back home, because that right there is not going to work. I need a leader at home, and you're a leader at work. And then in order for you to move up to be a leader, you got to come down, dim your light. In order to move up to the next position, that's not the position you need to get. So then also that's
the enemy.
The enemy. That's wisdom and discernment as well. That went a lot. Go ahead. Back to what you're saying about the friendship and the friendship zone. Yeah, I finished that. Go ahead.
Okay. No, so I just wanted to say, friendship, like I said, is just the foundation, right? And when you said weaponizing friendship, that means, so when I say friendship is the foundation, that doesn't mean we just friends. We just roommates. Excuse me. Go ahead. Because, again, that goes back to stagnation, right? So when you're in your marriage and y'all start doing the same things over and over and over and over and over, you start getting bored, and you literally just, okay, I'm home from work, we about to have dinner, put the kids to bed, do some homework, get up tomorrow, do the same thing again. Right?
My roll of pillows in the middle of the bed.
Yeah.
And sleep.
Same thing over and over and over. And now, we real good friends.
Mm-hmm.
He pay the bills. He stay in his lane. He take out the trash. Right? I'm over here. I'm taking care of the kids. We doing homework. I'm making breakfast in the morning.
Might get a hug once a week.
Right. We staying in our roles.
Lanes.
Right? But then what? Are you really fulfilling the covenant? Are you really operating the way God designed the marriage covenant? No, you just roommates, right? There's no fire, there's no passion, there's no. People say being on fire for the Lord, right? Are you on fire for the Lord? Are you on fire for your husband? Are you like does something change in you when he walks in the room? Or is it just, oh, that's my boy?
Do some more push-ups. Trust me.
So, yeah, again, weaponizing friendship. Mm-hmm. Don't get caught, even in your marriage, in the friend zone.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Because that happens, unfortunately. And then guess what? When we're waiting for the empty nest, right, that's when divorce happens.
Because you number one, you stop doing push-ups. I'll tell you that right now. Number two, you stop being a man. I would say you in leading, which is easy. So from that perspective, you can go to work and then get promoted, bumped up, or whatever. But if you come down too much, that'll impact how you are at home with your spouse. And then that just spirals. It keeps spiraling and spiraling and spiraling to the point where what do y'all have to talk about?
Right.
Or you spiral to the point, okay, you have no zero spawn. Okay, great. That's not going to help you because we're more than conquerors through Christ, my Lord. Say this, yeah? So, perfect. You need to actually be able to speak and talk to people, speak and talk to your wife, love on your wife. And if you can't, she can't view you as a man being able to, one, her protector, provider, and she knows all those provisions are directly coming from the Lord down to you and then providing out to your spouse and the family. And how are you being a good steward of what God has given you? One, of your resources, also, which is also your talents, also what you work, and also over your family as well. Mm-hmm. Whatever you're entrusted with. So your body, your temple, you're entrusted with that as well. So a lot of times your spouse will see what you're doing with the talents the Lord gives you. She'll see what the money that you get comes in from the work. She'll see what you're doing with the body that God gave you. She'll see what you're doing with the voice that the Lord has gifted you with. And if you're doing a whole bunch of stagnant, stanky water stuff, yeah, empty nesting time, she might not want to be around the stanky water anymore. There's nothing to keep her there. At least there's some fish. I'm not calling children fish, but at least there's something there, moving and swimming and alive.
Yeah.
Right? And once those arrows leave the quiver, they're gone. At that point in time, you're just raising the children. And then, guess what? That struggle that you had in your marriage, the children know that y'all weren't together. The children know that y'all were just in it just for them. Mm-hmm. And at that point in time, it can be a detriment to them as they go in and out of the relationships.
Yeah.
And no, I say in and out, because that challenge or that behavior, that habit, has now been instilled into them. Right, wrong, or indifferent, they're watching you. Mm-hmm. A lot of times we say your children look at you and do what you do versus what you're saying.
Absolutely. Yeah. Definitely. So, and now, I guess in closing, what do you think? And y'all chime in too. What do you think the most important ingredient is in a strong marriage? So if you're still watching with us live, let us know what you think. If you had to say one thing, strong ingredient. What's the strongest ingredient for a marriage? A sustained marriage. One that's going to make it to the test of time.
Asking me?
Go for it.
Oh, one, it won't be a traditional answer. It will be, I would basically say, gramba, passion. You have to truly have a passion for your spouse, and that passion has to basically get it from the Lord, and that passion flows up and out. You have to look at it. That passion should be rooted in something that it's just massively big or huge, and you're chomping at the bit every day. You're overjoyed at that marriage that you have, that all the possibilities, all the grandeur of marriage, and that passion not only needs to be given and gifted to your spouse and your children, that same passion about life and all the things you can do together. Meaning, you shouldn't get married and say, oh, I have limitations from doing X, Y, and Z. That's not how it should go. You have a helpmate. So that passion that you have toward her, that's also her, what God gets from God. You have that passion for her, and it's also the passion that then helps to birth and give birth to things out in the world. So I would say gramba. Yeah.
Okay. That's really good. Okay. Well, for me, let's see. So I would probably say not just, I want to be very specific. Like, I always like to be. I'm not going to just say prayer. But for me, the strongest ingredient I would think is prayer for guidance. Because, and as a very young girl, I would always tell my mom, Mom, I figured it out. I never forget, we walked to the grocery store one day, and I said, I figured it out, Mom, when you pray, you have to be very specific. And I think I was like 8 years old. And I said, you have to be very specific when you're talking to God. When you ask Him for stuff, don't just ask Him for a pair of tennis shoes. Ask Him for the white Reebok. Because that's really what you want. You don't just want tennis shoes. You want the white Reebok, right? And Mom, I tested it. Right? I remember telling her, excuse me, I didn't just pray in my mind at the time, a basic prayer. Okay, I want some shoes, Lord. Can you please bless me with some shoes? No, because I really want the white Reebok. And He blessed me not with just tennis shoes, but He blessed me with the white Reebok. So in my marriage, I believe the strongest ingredient is not just prayer. For me, very specifically, it's prayers for guidance. Because there are things that I don't want to do in my flesh. But when I pray and ask God for guidance, He says, Michelle, this is what I need you to do. He knows I'm going to do my best to operate in obedience, even when I don't want to. So when I say that prayer, He helps me with my lack of wanting to be obedient, right? He gives me the will to be obedient. Because just as humans, right, we operate that way. We don't want to do what's right all the time, right? Even when we know it. So when I pray and ask God, not just for, God, give me, and so, example, right? And we all do it as girls. We make the list for our spouses, right? My list was tall, light-skinned basketball player, right? But on that list, it was also God-fearing, wonderful father, great spouse, able to cook, right? All these very, very specific things. So the things that He did not give me, right, were the things that I didn't need. Things I needed, He gave me. Because my prayer was always, God, from this list, give me what I need. It wasn't, I didn't need a man that was tall, light-skinned, and played basketball. Guess what? I ended up getting one. But at the time when we met, he was not that man that I knew of. He ended up being that man. And then some, right? But He gave me the things that I needed on that list. Not the things that I thought I wanted, because I didn't need those things, right? So when I pray, I'm very specific in my prayer when it comes to my marriage. Okay, Lord, what are we supposed to do? You done moved us all the way to Florida, Lord. What are we supposed to do now? Right? We took the step. My husband was told, yes, we're moving to Florida. Okay, Lord, I'm following my husband. We're going to Florida. Now what? Lord, please guide my husband continually. Please give him the answers even when I can't see it. Right? So I'm very, very specific in my prayers, not just cookie cutter prayers. I pray for specific guidance, and I think that's the very strongest ingredient in our marriage anyway. A strong marriage from here on out, of course, for however long we're going to be on this here earth. So now, for us, of course, marriage has been the most meaningful journey, and I mentioned that already. But as we continue along on this journey, we're not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. We strive to be who God wants us to be, and that's in everything, in our marriage, in our parenthood, and our day-to-day, lives with the people that we come in contact with, whether it be work, clients, or the stranger in the grocery store, right? That's what we strive to do. So, but in our marriage, very specifically, it's been filled with growth, right? Learning each other and the sanctity of marriage, giving each other grace, right, along the way, because that's definitely something that you need to have in marriage. It's not always going to go your way. A lot of times it may not go your way. And ultimately commitment, right, because we made a decision, not just when we said I do, but before God. Before we said I do. When He proposed, He made the commitment, I made the commitment. Before we went to the altar, the commitment was made. And we honor that daily. So, anything else you have to say in closing, honey?
Good to go. Yeah, it was, you said a few things. A few things popped in my mind at the time, but they have since went.
I talked too long.
They since went. Oof. So, yeah, no, it's been a pleasure. I would say the learning each other. I would say do not stop the learning part, because she's gonna change. I'm gonna change as well. So don't stop learning, and then 2, always work to improve. Mm-hmm. Strive to keep improving. And the learning is learning each other, and then continue learning yourself, learning, digging in the Word, learn about stuff in the world, what's going on, and getting smart, whatever you're into. God puts that desire in your heart. You do it. And that's good. good to go.
All right. So, if our discussion tonight resonated with you in any way, join us for the next one. Okay, Wednesday is our next topic. And this is a really, really good favorite of mine because this was me wholeheartedly, okay? We're going to talk Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern about how I went from independent woman to submissive wife. I'm going to say that again. From independent woman to submissive wife. And guess what? And happy about it.
So what's the theme song? Independent, throw it up, or what's the
Some
song?
foolishness is what it is.
I ain't
Some
heard
foolishness.
that song like in some long time
Some
ago.
foolishness.
Whatever, yeah.
But yeah, no, we're gonna talk about that on Wednesday because that's what holds a lot of women back. Number one, from being married, but also number two, from staying married.
Hmm.
So we're gonna talk about that on Wednesday
Interesting.
at 7. Yes.
7.
Yes.
Mm.
Tell your friends. All right. Love
7
y'all.
o'clock.
Bye.
Bye.